Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you're all doing good. Okay, so the other day we were studying carbohydrates, right? We were discussing carbohydrates and today we'll be continuing carbohydrates. So as I told you the other day as well, that one of the most important biological molecule that makes up your body parts, right? Certain structures in your body, in your cell, as well as that is used as a storage compound, that is used as a compound that provides energy to the body, that belongs to the group carbohydrates, right? Carbohydrates, as we studied that day as well, are known as organic molecules, right? So basically they're organic, right? Made up of what chemicals or what elements? Mostly carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And carbohydrates are called carbohydrates because, I hope you all remember that as well, that we derived this term from the word hydrated carbons. Now, why did we use the term hydrated carbons? Because the ratio of hydrogen and oxygen in carbohydrates is the same as is present in water. You can take an example of the molecule glucose, C6H12O6, 12:6, right? Or you can say 2:1, as present in water, that's also 2:1, right? So most carbohydrates have this ratio of hydrogen and oxygen in them. Therefore, they are termed as carbohydrates, right? So depending upon their structure, we had three classes of carbohydrates, right? Carbohydrates have three classes depending upon their structure, right? So the first or the primary class of carbohydrates is called monosaccharides, right? We have three classes. So we'll start with monosaccharides, right? We have monosaccharides, we have disaccharides, and we have polysaccharides, right? I write it down here. So we have what? Monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides, right? We will be discussing them one by one. We'll begin with monosaccharides, right? So monosaccharides are monomers. We use the term monomers. Monomers are molecules that join together repeatedly, right? And they form polymers, right? So you can say that the smallest unit of a carbohydrate is a monosaccharide. Monosaccharides are the smallest units of carbohydrates that then give rise, when they react with each other, they give rise to what? Disaccharides and polysaccharides. The word saccharon comes from the word sugar, right? So all monosaccharides are sweet in taste because they're sugars. Also, they're all what? Water soluble. All monosaccharides are water soluble. And we discussed the other day as well that the smallest monosaccharides are called trioses, right? 3 carbon ones, they're called trioses. Then you have 4 carbon ones, which are called tetraoses. Then you have 5 carbon ones that are called pentoses. Then you have 6 carbon ones that are called hexoses, right? Out of these, we'll be studying pentoses and hexoses, right? Pentose sugar is, or a monosaccharide of the pentose sugar, that's present in the DNA molecule. So we will be studying it when we'll be studying nucleic acids. Today, our topic is the hexose sugar, right? The structure of a hexose sugar, because the most common form of sugar or of monosaccharide that exists in our body, that's a glucose molecule. So a glucose molecule is what? A hexose, a 6 carbon sugar, right? So there are 3 monosaccharides in your syllabus that you will be studying, right? Glucose, galactose, and fructose. So 3 monosaccharides that you will be studying: glucose, galactose, and fructose, right? All of these 3 monosaccharides have the same molecular formula. the first and the foremost thing that you need to remember is all three of these monosaccharides have the same molecular formula, that is C6H12O6. This is a hexose sugar, this is a hexose sugar, this is a hexose sugar, right? They all have how many carbons in them? 6 carbons. Hence, we call them, all of them are termed as hexoses. There are more hexoses as well, but we'll be studying 3 hexoses, right? Glucose, galactose, and fructose, right? All 3 of them have the common molecular formula C6H12O6. When you're representing glucose, it has the same formula. When you're talking about galactose, it has the same formula. Talking about fructose, it has the same formula. There is a difference in the structural formula. That means we'll be studying 2 types of formulas. We'll be studying structural formulas and molecular formulas, right? And you need to remember whatever I'm writing on the board now. So please write it down somewhere for your knowledge, right? So glucose, galactose, and fructose, when they have the same formula, there must be some difference in the arrangement of atoms, right? That's why they have different names, and not just different names, they have different chemical properties as well. They have different modes of reaction, which are similar to each other, but they're not identical, right? Because the arrangement of molecules, the arrangement of atoms is different in the structural formula, right? So this is their molecular formula, right? Now, I'll be writing structural formula for all 3 of them. Okay? So, structural formula. Now, you will have to learn to write these formulas, and the more you will practice, the more conveniently you will learn them, right? So, the first thing, they have how many carbons? 6 carbons. So, all 3 of them, glucose, galactose, fructose, all 3 of them have 6 carbons. The first thing I'm going to do is draw the carbon structure, right? I hope you studied organic chemistry and you would have studied some of the structures already there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? There are 6 carbons in glucose. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 carbons in galactose, and similarly 6 carbons in fructose. Okay, first of all, I'll explain the glucose structure and then we'll compare the structure of glucose with galactose and fructose. So this is how in the straight chain or in an open chain, in a structural formula, the carbon molecules are organized, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 carbons present, right? Now, as far as the hydrogen and oxygen molecules are concerned, they're present in the form of hydroxyl group. What is a hydroxyl group? OH, right? And hydrogen. So carbon forms a bond with the hydroxyl group and carbon forms a bond with the hydrogen molecule. Also, I hope you all know that too, that the valency of carbon is 4, right? So one carbon atom can make a maximum of 4 bonds, right? So let's see how this hydroxyl and OH is arranged. So in the case of the glucose molecule, the first carbon is double bonded with oxygen, right? That means this carbon has 1, 2, 3 bonds satisfied, only 1 left, right? Okay, then the second one has OH here. The fourth one, OH or hydroxyl group you can call it, right? Fifth one, OH here. Sixth one, OH here, right? I haven't drawn anything on carbon number 3. Carbon number 3 also has a OH group, but the side is the mirror image of carbon number 2 and carbon number 4. Like the OH group is present on the opposite side as on all other carbon atoms. Then the remaining valency will be satisfied with the use of hydrogen molecule. So 1, 2, 3, 4, hydrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4, hydrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4th, hydrogen. 1, 2, 3 bonds, 4th, hydrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4th, hydrogen, right? Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hydrogen here and a hydrogen here. So let's count the hydrogens now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many hydrogens here? 12. So we have balanced 12 hydrogen molecules. Oxygen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All carbons have one oxygen with them and 6 carbons, right? So this is the structural formula or the open chain formula of the glucose molecule, right? I'm repeating this part up again. The glucose molecule has the molecular formula C6H12O6, right? In fact, all 3 monosaccharides, glucose, galactose, and fructose, have the molecular formula C6H12O6. The difference occurs where? In the structural formula, right? So, the molecular formula comprises of 6 carbon atoms, right? The carbon atoms are bonded with the hydroxyl group and the hydrogen group. Each carbon atom has 1 hydroxyl and 1 hydrogen group, right? Now the arrangement is specific. In the case of the like normal structure of glucose, the first atom of carbon is bonded with, is double bonded with oxygen, right? Therefore, we call this is termed as an aldehyde group, right? So we call this sugar as an aldose sugar or an aldo sugar, right? So what happens? Then the carbon number 2 has OH, carbon number 4 has OH, carbon number 5. But in the case of carbon number 3 only, this part, the arrangement is such that the OH group is present on the opposite side as on all other carbons, right? So this is the structural formula of glucose. Let's see how galactose is different or what difference does galactose have from the glucose molecule. Just like glucose, it has double bonded oxygen, just like that. Carbon number 1 has double bonded oxygen and a hydrogen, right? Carbon number 2 has OH. Now, just like glucose, carbon number 3 has H here. But the second difference is that carbon number 4 also has H on this side, and both of them have OH on the opposite side as compared to the other molecules, other atoms, sorry. So OH, OH, H, 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 right? So this is the structural formula of the galactose. The difference being where? In the carbon number 4. Like in the case of galactose, carbon number 3 and carbon number 4 are alike. Here, only carbon number 3 was a mirror image of carbon number 2 and carbon number 4, right? Here, carbon number 3 and carbon number 4 both are mirror images of carbon number 2. They have OH or the hydroxyl group on the opposite side as compared to the normal atom, normal side, right? So this is glucose and this is galactose, right? Now, moving on to fructose. What's the difference in the case of fructose? In the case of the fructose molecule, which is also commonly known as the fruit sugar, the difference occurs in the position of the double bond. The double bond is not present with the first carbon, it's present with the second carbon. This is where the double bond occurs, right? The rest is same as in the glucose molecule. You will have OH here, and carbon number 3 will have H, 4 will have OH, 5 will have OH, 6 will have OH, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. OH, H, 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 and H, right? So this is the part where the fructose molecule is different, right? So because this is the part where it is different, right? We also call fructose as a keto sugar. This group is termed as a ketone group. That group is termed as, like when a carbon has H on one side and double bond over the first carbon, that is termed as an aldose group or an aldehyde group. So both of these sugars are called aldo sugars, and this sugar is called a keto sugar because the second carbon is, or the carbon that has 2 carbons on either side, that has double bond with oxygen molecule, right? So this is termed as the structural formula, or you can also call it what? The open chain formula for the glucose, galactose, and fructose. Now I'm using the term open chain. What do I mean by open chain or straight chain formula? When you're talking about monosaccharides, usually monosaccharides occur in ringed structures. They form circular or ringed structures. That means that this open chain does not, in the compounds that it forms, it does not occur in this form. Why? This is not stable. It can be attacked upon by other atoms, right? Whereas we know that glucose molecule is a stable molecule. So to attain maximum stability, the glucose molecule folds upon itself. It forms a ringed structure. So we'll be studying the ringed structure as well. How does that ringed structure form? So the ringed structure of the glucose, and this is all in your syllabus. So please do practice it and do ask me questions if you have any problem with understanding this, right? So I'll not be drawing the ring structure of galactose and fructose, but we'll see like it's a similar method. We'll see how glucose forms a ring structure. Also, you need to know trioses and tetraoses do not form ring structures. They're too small to fold upon themselves. Pentoses and hexoses, they form ring structures. They rarely exist in the open chain state. They usually fold upon themselves, and what do they form? They form ringed structures, right? So how does the glucose molecule fold upon itself to form a ring structure? That is what we'll be studying next, right? So the glucose molecule with the formula C6H12O6, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hope this is visible to all of you. Double bond O, right? Then OH. Then number 3 has H. Number 4 has OH. Number 5 has OH. Okay. So I'm writing this with a colored, different color. You'll know why in a bit. This has OH, right? Then H here, H here, OH here, H here, H here, and H here, and H here, right? In some books, the last one is written as CH2OH, right? H2 because it has 1 and 2 hydrogens. So you can write it CH2OH like this as well, right? Okay. How does it fold upon itself to form a ring, right? Let's just clearly understand that first. How does the ring structure take place? I hope you all know that this bond means a shared pair of electrons. This is a covalent bond, right? Showing the sharing of electrons. What happens, and I hope you all know that from chemistry as well, that the double bond is comparatively unstable as compared to the single bond, right? That means the most unstable bond here is this one, C double bond O. So what happens? This shared pair of electrons is transferred to the oxygen molecule, right? This shared pair of electrons is transferred to the oxygen molecule. This bond breaks. As a result, this oxygen gets a negative charge because electron is transferred to it. Now, two things occur. This oxygen gets a negative charge. Also, this carbon becomes deficient in one bond because carbon has to form 4 bonds, right? So, now because this oxygen is negatively charged, it is going to attack one of the hydrogen molecules. What it does is, it attacks hydrogen molecule on carbon number 5. From carbon number 1 to carbon number 5. Now, it attacks the hydrogen molecule on carbon number 5 and it removes hydrogen from here. So, this hydrogen is removed and this hydrogen travels here. It is fitted here, hence this bond goes away because this hydrogen forms a bond here now, right? This oxygen becomes deficient as well. So now we have 2 deficient atoms, this carbon and this oxygen. So what happens? This molecule folds upon itself and forms a bond with this oxygen here. What does it look like? I'll just draw it here for you. I'm writing this oxygen in the same color, green color here. This is this oxygen. So it is forming a bond with carbon number 5 and carbon number 1, right? So you have carbon number 1 on one side, right? And carbon number 5 on the other side. That's how this works. Like I told you, this is going to fold upon itself. So carbon number 1, carbon number 2, with 1 there is 2, then carbon number 3, carbon number 4, and carbon number 5, right? I'll draw it there more clearly. So I'm drawing that structure here. This is that oxygen, right? Forming a bond with carbon number 1 and carbon number 5 simultaneously. So carbon number 1 is definitely linked to carbon number 2. This is linked to carbon number 3. This is linked to carbon number 4 and carbon number 5. What about carbon number 6? Carbon number 6 adjusts itself outside the ring. Here, carbon number 6, right? Now let's balance the OH and the H molecules, right? So carbon number 1 had OH and H. Initially it had double bond O, right? But when the attack occurred, now this hydrogen was removed from here and that hydrogen traveled all the way up to carbon number 1. Now carbon number 1 has OH and H, no double bond, right? So double bond with oxygen is gone. So carbon number 1 has OH and H. Carbon number 2 has OH and H, right? Carbon number 3 on the other hand has OH and H, but in the reverse phenomena, right? H here and OH on the inside. Carbon number 4 has OH and H. Carbon number 5 has only H. OH is gone now. So carbon number 5 has H and carbon number 6 on the other side and oxygen only. And carbon number 6, H2OH. So this is how the ring structure formation takes place, right? Similarly, the same thing occurs in the case of galactose. Just carbon number 3 and carbon number 4, they both have reverse OH groups, right? The same thing occurs in the case of fructose, but just the folding occurs at carbon number 2 because the double bond is present at carbon number 2, right? But for today, you just need to remember how the glucose molecule fold. We will talk about fructose, we will talk about galactose later on, right? So I hope this is clear to you all. I'm just quickly repeating it up, right? Just the folding, I'm repeating up how it folds, right? Or how it forms the ring structure again. So what happens? I'll write this up again. O here and H here. So what happens? Because it's a double bond and you already know the double bond is comparatively unstable as compared to single bond, this shared pair of electron is transferred to the oxygen. Oxygen gets negative charge. Now because this has got a negative charge, now it's able to attack other atoms. It attacks hydrogen and it removes hydrogen from carbon number 5. Now when this happens, okay, carbon number 5 loses its hydrogen and the hydrogen comes here, this double bond, this negative is gone, right? But the carbon molecules or the carbon atom becomes deficient in one bond. This carbon now has 1, 2, 3, before it had double bond, right? But now the double bond is gone. So this carbon needs one more bond to be stable. Also, this oxygen has become deficient in an electron or a bond because the hydrogen atom is gone. So now this is going to form a bond with this oxygen. Hence, carbon number 1 and carbon number 5 will be linked through the oxygen atom. This is what is happening here. Carbon number 1 folding upon itself, linking with carbon number 5. So this is carbon number 1 and carbon number 5 joined by the bridge that is formed by the oxygen atom, right? And why? Because oxygen atom also lost its hydrogen, so it could easily fold upon itself. Now, carbon number 1 attached with carbon number 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? And carbon number 6 is outside the ring, right? So there is a linkage formed where the double bond was. Double bond broke, right? transferring the electrons to the oxygen molecule or oxygen atom, sorry, then the oxygen atom removing hydrogen from carbon number 5, the hydroxyl group of carbon number 5, and this oxygen of the hydroxyl group then linking carbon number 1 and carbon number 5, forming what? A ringed structure. When you'll get used to it, you can skip writing the carbons, right? This formula can be written in the form of this structure as well. Oxygen, and you do not need to write the carbons. Each corner automatically means it's a carbon. In organic chemistry, it's understood that every corner of this structural formula or skeletal formula stands for carbon. So even if you do not write C, that's acceptable. But you do have to write down the hydroxyl and the OH group. So for carbon number 1, OH, H, carbon number 2, OH, H, carbon number 3, OH on the inside, hydrogen on the outside, OH, H, and carbon number 5 has only H because OH was removed, right? And there is oxygen on this side, and then it has carbon number 6 with H2OH, right? So you can write it in this way. It looks less messy, it's easier to write, right? Each corner stands for what? A carbon atom. Even if you do not write carbon, that's completely acceptable, that's completely understandable, right? This each corner stands for carbon. One more thing that I would like to add here, sometimes while folding, what happens? The hydroxyl group of carbon number 1 is on the downside, right? Such glucose where in carbon number 1, the hydroxyl group is present below the plane, this is termed as alpha glucose. We call it what? Alpha glucose. That means glucose molecule again has two types depending upon the structural arrangement. So when the hydroxyl group is present below the plane, you call it alpha glucose, and when what happens, this hydroxyl group is present above the plane. Sometimes the arrangement occurs in such a way that OH is present above the plane, right? So when in the carbon number 1, the OH is present above the plane, this glucose molecule is called a beta glucose molecule, right? In different disaccharides, in different polysaccharides, you have different alpha and beta glucose molecules, right? So when OH group is present below the plane, that's termed as alpha glucose. And when the OH molecule is present above the plane, that is termed as what? A beta glucose molecule, right? So I hope this is all clear. We will be inshallah continuing this tomorrow. What I want you to do is two things. One, I've uploaded a worksheet in your Google Classrooms. The ones who have not joined the Google Classrooms, please join Google Classrooms. I hope you've all done exercises. I received a few queries from you. I will be answering them later today, right? And if there is a problem that any one of you is facing in the exercise of chapter number 1, please do contact me, leave a message in the stream in Google Classroom, I'll answer that, right? Or if you have my email or my number, you can contact me there, right? And I have left a worksheet for you in the Google Classroom. The ones who haven't joined it, please join it, do solve that worksheet, submit it during this week, and I'll mark it in a day or two, right? Also, please read this topic. The one, like the chapter that we started from the beginning till monosaccharides, right? Tomorrow we'll be starting with disaccharides. So before we start with disaccharides, you need to be familiar with these formulas. Please take out some time and practice these formulas, draw them on your copies, practice drawing the ring structures, because we'll be using these structures a lot in the coming chapters as well and in this chapter as well, right? Okay, have a good day. Allah Hafiz.